All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's Kinetiq Health Wellness webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about how to keep it body positive. We're going to be going over what it means to practice body positivity, what it means to practice body neutrality, and how we can use both of these methods to promote overall better health and well-being. My name is Andrea Hickel, and I am a licensed clinical social worker on the Kinetiq Health team here at Apex, and I'm joined by my coworker.
Yep, I'm Tyler Townsend. I'm a dietitian here at Apex Benefits.
Okay, so to start out, we are going to go over some webinar housekeeping for you guys. So just with GoToWebinar, you guys will be in listen-only mode throughout the duration of our presentation, but we do have one of our lovely coworkers here with us, and so he'll be managing the question chat box. If you guys have any questions throughout the presentation or comments, he will let us know, and we can answer those along the way. Also, if you need to do a call-in option, there is a phone number that you can use to dial in, and all of the presentation slides and resources will be available to download on the right-hand side of your webinar screen. Okay, so what are we going to be talking about today? We're going to start out by going over why this topic is important, why we're covering it. We're really happy to collaborate both on the physical and mental aspects of why it's important to create an appreciation for our bodies. We're going to go over the difference between body positivity and neutrality. Tyler's going to take us through the physical ways that we can appreciate our bodies. And then I'm going to walk us through how we can shift our mindset to body appreciation. And then we'll look at how we can set ourselves up for long-term success. But before we get going, we want to start out with some polling questions for you guys to do a little bit of engagement. So we're going to get that first polling question launched for you, and it should pop up just right on your screen. The question that we're asking is, which of the following can have an impact on our body image? And our options are social media, the culture that we live in, our friends and family, or all of the above. What do you guys think? Select that poll for us. Okay, so I'm getting word that it looks like a lot of people are selecting all of the above, and you guys are spot on. All of those things really do have an impact on our body image. And now our next polling question is, who is generally affected by negative body image? Our options are older women, younger men, younger women and teenage girls, or anyone. What do you guys think? See, oh wow, okay. We're getting a little bit of a mix, but it looks like the majority of people are saying anyone, which again is spot on. It does not discriminate. This is something that impacts all of us, and that's why we want to talk about it here today.
Perfect. All right, so prevalence of body dissatisfaction. So the most important thing that we're going to start with first is, what is body dissatisfaction? So body dissatisfaction is negative thoughts and feelings about one's body. And it's also one of the most important global measures of stress related to the body is body dissatisfaction. So as we see it, it affects multiple groups of people, multiple ages, all across the lifespan. But it's also good to look at the research and see what we know about body dissatisfaction. So 20 to 40% of women report body dissatisfaction, along with 10 to 30% of men. And body dissatisfaction levels remain stable for women throughout adult years. And it's actually unclear if levels change for men, because in the studies focused on men, there's a lack of long-term follow-up. So we still don't, the research is out about that. When we look at male adolescents specifically, 69% are dissatisfied with their body weight, and 90% are dissatisfied with muscularity. And if you look at men, older men do not place as much of an emphasis on appearance as younger men do. And for women, as age increases, so does level of appreciation for the body. But keep in mind, you can appreciate what the body can do, but still be dissatisfied with your own body. So if we look at the benefits of body appreciation and why we care about it and why we use it. So if we look at a study of 334 college students, those that had body appreciation were more likely to engage in preventative health behaviors, such as eating a healthful diet and engaging in physical activity. And another study of 1,200 women measured the effects of positive body image components, which were body appreciation, body image flexibility, functionality appreciation, intuitive eating, and self-compassion against, they compared that against the onset of the 7 core eating disorder symptoms. So in the study, the results show that greater increases in intuitive eating and body appreciation over time were 2 factors associated with lower odds of the symptom onset of the core eating disorder symptoms. So what do these studies mean? So when we have a value or we invest in body appreciation, we tend to be healthier and follow healthy habits, and it's truly a focus on starting with the mindset, which then turns into the physical component of it.
Yeah, that's really interesting, Tyler. Okay, so let's start out by going over these 2 main movements that have become popular when looking at gaining appreciation for our body. So the first one is body positivity. And this is actually a movement that was founded in the 1960s, but has gained a lot of popularity and has become more mainstream. So the concept of body positivity is it's a social movement that promotes acceptance of bodies of all sizes. So the main goal is really to challenge society's beauty standards, which have tended to favor thin, able bodies over overweight and obese bodies. So really with this movement, we're focusing on our body the way it is and what we do love about it externally. This movement has faced some criticism, as some have said that it does ignore some health factors that are a part of maybe being a little bit overweight. But overall, it's a movement that has gained a lot of positive acceptance. So when we look at the benefits of body positivity, it's been shown to increase overall satisfaction and appreciation of our body. It's linked to greater self-compassion. We're gentler with ourselves. And it's also contributed to higher levels of intuitive eating. So really paying attention to those hunger cues and what we're putting in our body rather than maybe a diet type culture. So moving on to, if you want to implement this, this method, what are some strategies you can utilize for body positivity? One of the key methods that you can utilize is positive affirmations. And affirmations can be hard maybe to start out doing. They might feel a little bit silly, but they really do work. So maybe that's putting some Post-it notes in your bathroom of things that you love about your body, reminding yourself of those positive things and saying them to yourself frequently. That can really help with keeping in that body positivity. Framing your mindset around health rather than image. Even though with body positivity, we are focusing on the things we love about our body and adding a positive spin, we also want to kind of shift our mindset to thinking about what am I doing in order to make myself healthy rather than to look a certain way. Surrounding yourself with positivity, so the people you're with, what are you consuming in media? What are you looking at on social media? All of that is very important. Doing things that are nice for your body, so self-care. I'm going to be hitting on that a lot, you guys, but it's so important. Avoiding comparison. Again, this is where monitoring what you're consuming via social media or in the media in general is really important, because often when we're consuming all of the filtered images, it leads to a lot of unrealistic comparison. And then finally, challenging those negative thoughts. So as negative thoughts come up about our body, challenging them right in the moment. So moving on to our next movement of body neutrality. This is something that is newer. It was a movement that was founded in 2015, but gained a lot of traction in 2016. And really, it's a concept of appreciating what our body can do for us. It's not focused on loving or not loving our body. We're not associating positive or negative to our physical appearance. It's not associating really your worth or happiness with your body, but rather focusing on more of the mechanical aspects of what our body can do for us. So when we look at the benefits of practicing body neutrality, it's been proven to improve our overall mood, to help lower our anxiety. It promotes more mindfulness and awareness of our bodies and helps us to stay present in the moment. And it helps us to focus on sustainable habits that align with our values. And when we want to practice body neutrality, there are 3 key pillars that can help us with this. So one is self-talk, noticing our thoughts. Are we having thoughts one way or the other about our body? When are we having those thoughts? Investigating them and affirming what we know to be true. So knowing that my body allows me to go on walks with my partner in the park. My body allows me to play with my kids. Whatever you know to be true, reminding yourself of that. Practicing having neutral language. So how do we speak about food and how do we speak about the overall appearance of our bodies is really important, and staying factual and neutral with that. And then again, that key pillar of self-care. So making sure that we're focusing on the key elements of nourishment, movement. Clothing in here is wearing clothes that make you feel good. That's a piece of self-care that really helps with this neutrality. And then also making sure we're getting rest and monitoring the media that we're consuming.
Especially when we talk about how we speak about our bodies is really important too, especially outwardly in the home, because as we see, it affects multiple ages, and I feel like it affects people younger and younger. So what we say at home really affects our kids too.
That's so true, Tyler. So Tyler, which one is better?
So which one is better? So we talked about body positivity, body neutrality. We went through all the important factors of it. So which one is better? And really it depends, and it's kind of a personal choice. So if self-affirmations are authentic to you, body positivity is probably a better approach for you. But if self-affirmations are not authentic to you, body neutrality is going to be a better route to go if you don't believe the affirmations that you're telling yourself. Mm-hmm. So whether you do body positivity or body neutrality, both is a form of body appreciation. So what does this look like, maybe more so from a physical side? So it's eating a balanced meal, so really focusing on very types of foods that are going to support our body. And then talking about intuitive eating is more so of a focus on being in tune with our body, especially when it comes to our hunger and satiety cues. Adequate hydration, so making sure we're drinking things that support our body's performance. Finding enjoyable movements, so this can be multiple things. We'll have plenty of examples to talk about. And even seeing your primary care physician yearly is a form of body appreciation.
It's so important.
So looking at a balanced diet. So this is the MyPlate template. You might have been familiar with the food pyramid in the past, but this is the guideline that we use now for what's considered a balanced diet. So we have protein. So you want to try to choose lean protein options. I always encourage people to consume at least 3 protein sources a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So chicken, turkey, and fish are going to be your leanest protein options. Non-starchy vegetables, so that's your tomatoes, broccoli, cauliflower, kale, asparagus, all that good stuff. We just want to be careful and more mindful of our intake when it comes to starchy vegetables, which are potatoes and corn. We want to put grains on our plate too, and we want to make half of our grains whole grains, because whole grains have more nutrient density and also fiber. And in the United States, we're really bad about getting our fiber intake. Fruit as well, so getting a fruit for each meal. And then a dairy or a dairy alternative. So maybe you're someone that doesn't drink milk. You can always do calcium fortified almond milk, leafy greens, spinach, kale. You just want to make sure that you're providing enough calcium to your body. Moving on to intuitive eating. So the hunger fullness scale is one tool that in intuitive eating that you can use. So we want to avoid the extremes with the hunger fullness scale. So 0 would be painfully hungry and 10 be painfully full. So we want to avoid those. So I usually encourage people to start eating when you're at a 2 or 3 on the scale. So either very hungry or hungry. And then you also want to stop eating at a 6 or 7. So when you're slightly to comfortably satisfied. Remember that there is a delay from your stomach telling your brain your satiety. So it's good to slow down. Always avoid the distractions while you eat. So don't eat while watching TV. Don't be on your phone. Try to eat with coworkers instead of working through lunch at your desk. Don't eat and drive at the same time. So anything that's going to cause distraction while you eat, we actually see people tend to take it more, and more commonly hit the 8, 9, 10 level of being uncomfortable. So even putting a timer out for your meals too, maybe not having your phone be the timer too, putting the utensil down between bites, try to chew your food 20 times. So really just do whatever you can to help slow down your mealtime. And even eating with other people is really important too. So we actually see that when people eat together, it really contributes to this intuitive eating process.
Some great tips.
Yeah. Hydration then. So we want to drink fluids throughout the day. So water is always the best fluid, but if you're not the type of person that enjoys water, you can always infuse your water with cucumbers, mints, fruit, strawberries, blueberries, whatever you enjoy. Staying hydrated before, during, and after exercise too. So when we're talking about enjoyable movements, it's always good to hydrate well beforehand, especially as it starts to get warmer out. You want to make sure that you're providing adequate hydration. Being mindful of calories and added sugar in your drinks too. So if you're the person who wants to maybe more so focus on weight management, two things that I usually encourage people to start tracking is their added sugar intake in their drinks or their calories in their drinks, but also their snacks too, are two areas that people should focus on. And then if we're looking at adequate intake levels of fluid, the technical adequate intake level for men is 3.7 liters and 2.7 for women. In a more clinical setting, we use 1 milliliter of fluid per calorie consumed, but always a good number that I encourage people to follow is just 64 ounces of fluid per day. And then rethinking your drinks. So again, being more mindful of the calories in your drinks. So in the bottom left asterisk, I put approximate carb intake per person per day is 225 grams. That's just roughly based on a 2,000 calorie diet, just talking general numbers here. So if the general carbohydrate intake is 225 grams per day, let's compare that to some commonly consumed fluids. So if we look at Coke at the top, a 20-ounce bottle has 65 grams of carbs, which would be 29% of your entire carb intake for the day is in one serving of Coke. If we go down the line, we can see the Naked Juice Blue Machine flavor and Mountain Dew have 76 and 77 grams of carbohydrates, which would be 34% of your carbohydrate intake for the day. And then your Starbucks drinks are going to have carbohydrates, mostly from sugar. And we tend to think of Gatorade as the sports hydration drink, but unless you're maybe more so like Olympic athlete, very serious with their exercise or sweat a lot during exercise, opting for a Gatorade Zero or a Gatorade Light would probably be a better option just to help keep the calories and the sugar intake down. And then also on the right-hand side at the bottom right, recommended intake of added sugar per day. So the recommended intake is 50 grams or less of added sugar per day. So most of these drinks, especially like the Coke and Mountain Dew, all of those carbs are from sugar. So we just want to be mindful of our drinks with added sugar, calories, and carbohydrates. Enjoyable movements then, so utilizing physical activity to appreciate our bodies. So rewarding your body, and when I say that, appreciating and talking about functionality, so that is a form of body appreciation. So finding something that you enjoy doing is the most important part of this too. So whether that be weight training, which has benefits for improving bone density, or aerobic activities, which have amazing cardiac benefits too. So this could be walking, running, swimming, biking, anything you enjoy doing. If we're talking about maybe more of a social group setting, group exercise classes, golf, but maybe walking the course instead of taking a golf cart, tennis. Maybe you're a person that enjoys working out with other people and you're more accountable for it. So again, enjoyable movements, finding something you enjoy doing is important, but also it's great to connect socially with people and also physically engage. Also establishing with a doctor. So this might be one that you didn't think of, but actually seeing your doctor once a year is a form of body appreciation. So you will get lab tests done that are critical to stay in good health. So we need to know what your numbers are in order to know if you need to make adjustments to what you have going on, whether that be a change in your nutrition plan, physical activity, or even mental health. So once a year, annual wellness exams and labs are typically covered at 100% and don't require you to pay anything. And you may even have an incentive from your employer to go to your wellness exam. So one thing that we do at Apex on the Kinetiq Health team is we help employer groups build out their wellness programs. And when a lot of times employers are rewarding their employees for going to their doctor once a year, whether through t-shirts or water bottles or maybe a gift card or things of that nature. So you might have an incentive to go to your annual wellness exam.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So Tyler gave us some great examples of how we can use some of those physical aspects to practice body appreciation. And now I'm going to shift and talk about how we can change our mindset a bit. When we look at body image and our mental health, having a negative body image really impacts our mental health and can create a whole host of different issues, including an increase of anxiety, body dysmorphia, so really seeing our body in a light of unrealistic to what it is, increase in depression, can lead to actual diagnosable eating disorders, feelings of shame and guilt. It can even cause some financial strain because of all the different products and things that we're working on to meet that unrealistic expectation, can increase negative self-talk, poor self-esteem, and an overall preoccupation with our weight and body type. So how can we shift our mindset to find that body appreciation in our mindset? But one of the first things, like I said, is to challenge those unhelpful thoughts. So when they come up, when we have negative thoughts about our body, or even, you know, if we want to keep it more neutral, when we pay attention to our thoughts in general, if they're not productive, stopping them in that moment and challenging those unhelpful thoughts. Focus more on what your body is capable of. So again, reminding yourself of what your body allows you to do is key in shifting our mindset. Focusing on healthcare as self-care, so making sure that you really are just viewing it as this is a way to keep myself healthy so that I can do the things that I want to do in life. Get out of the habit of talking about our bodies really in a positive or negative light, shifting more to just keeping that language neutral can help with that appreciation. And then just like Tyler said, with finding enjoyable movement, finding activities that make you feel good about yourself, but that also could mean doing hobbies or creative activities such as painting or crafting, other things that make you feel good about yourself. So now let's look at how we can take some of these steps and create success moving forward. Okay, so I've mentioned it several times, but self-care is key, you guys. I'm always going to bring it up when I talk about how to keep ourselves balanced with our mental health. And so this plays in both for our physical and mental health. When we're creating our self-care plan, look at how things are currently in your life and see if you have a good amount of balance. Are you finding time for those enjoyable movement activities? Are you finding time for social engagement? And how are you feeling about yourself in those moments? And then if you find that maybe you don't have as much balance in your life as you would like, how can you alter and shift that? How can you create more moments for taking care of yourself holistically, mind and body? So going hand in hand with that is making sure that we're keeping our stress in check. Stress is one of the main things that we want to stay on top of in order to make sure that we're not falling into negative coping strategies. And it can also be a huge implication for our mental and physical health. So I always say to look at the 4 A's of how to cope with stress. The first one is the obvious. If you can avoid the stressor, then avoid it, right? So maybe when we're creating that self-care plan, look at some of the things in your life that you can cut out or that maybe aren't necessary and avoid them if at all possible. The next A is to alter the stressful event. So if there are certain things within the event that you can alter or the stressor itself, maybe you have a stressful thing you have to go to, an event, maybe you can leave early and alter it that way. The third A is to adapt to the stressors. So there are going to be things in life, people in life that are stressors for us that we cannot avoid. So how can we adapt to them? How can we implement more self-care for ourselves, either before and after that stressor, to make sure we're keeping ourselves in check? And finally, how can we accept the things that we can't change? That's so important that you find that acceptance to the things in life that you can't alter. Practicing self-love. So again, guys, making time for ourselves, that goes hand in hand with creating that self-care plan, using those affirmations. If they work for you, that's a great way to practice self-love. Recognizing our insecurities and being on top of them, maybe challenging those insecurities or avoiding situations that might bring out your insecurities more. Knowing what motivates you, and then again, finding self-compassion. That's so key for body appreciation. And then finally, listen to your body, okay? So just like we talked about with the intuitive eating, paying attention to our physical cues for hunger, how are we feeling, even when it comes to rest and physical movement. If you're really not feeling good, you're really sore, or you need extra sleep, pay attention to that. And then same with our mental health. If we feel like we're extra anxious or stressed, again, paying attention to those physical cues of maybe headaches or your heart racing, and really stay on top of implementing more of that self-care. Slowing yourself down, so practicing mindfulness, being present in the moment, practicing more of that neutrality can really help to slow yourself down. And then finally, avoiding shame. So really not placing shame on yourself. No one is perfect. We're not going to be perfect at these methods all the time. And so don't shame yourself for that. Really practice that self-compassion. Okay, guys, so we are nearing the end. We've got some great resources for you guys to check out after the presentation. I've included in here a self-care assessment. I love to have people fill out so that you can kind of see where you stand currently with your self-care. What are some additional things that you maybe can add in when you're creating that self-care plan? And then also I've included in here some body positivity online resources. There's some great books, podcasts, websites, so check that out. And then Tyler's got a couple resources on here for you as well.
Yep, there's a really good book called Younger Next Year. So it's co-written by a medical doctor and also a writer. So you have the science, but also a creative spin. So it makes it a little bit more of a lighthearted read. But it's focused on actions that you can take today to slow the physiological process of aging. And obviously the goal is to maintain a high quality of life for as long as possible. And it really focuses on things, both mental and physical, that you can do to maintain that high quality of life.
Awesome. Yeah, so that is really what we have for you guys. Do we have any questions?
So far, just asking if they can get a copy of the PowerPoints, and they really appreciated one of the slides.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
We will for sure make sure everyone has access to the resources in the PowerPoint. If you guys have any questions, feel free to type them in the chat now. But if not, you know, we've really enjoyed this time with you here today talking about this topic. Give it a couple more seconds. Anything? All right, perfect. Okay, well then we appreciate having you guys here today, and make sure to join us next month for our next Kinetiq Health Wellness webinar.